Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Andrea Hutchens and I'm with Yoga's Arc, and today I'm going to be taking you through about 45 or so minutes of what I like to call happy hips, hamstrings, and psoas release. So we're going to be working into the hips, the backs of the legs, and storage that's kind of in this area as far as tension in the body. So just a quick little moment to let you know that Yoga's Arc wants you to put your health first. Yoga is an activity that requires physical exertion. Please be sure you're in proper health to do yoga, and if you are unsure or have an existing medical condition, please consult your doctor or physician before beginning a yoga regimen. So we're going to grab some props if you have them for this practice. You can use a couple yoga blocks if you have them. If not, you could use a couple big books, a yoga mat if you have it, and maybe something comfortable to sit upon. And maybe some water. That's always good to have nearby. So let's go ahead and start in a seated position. I'm going to just kind of sit up onto a little bit of cushion. You could sit up onto a yoga block. You could sit upon a blanket. But the idea is just to make the body comfortable for just a moment. So let's talk about the psoas, because this is really about achieving a little bit of psoas release today. So the psoas is one of the hip flexors. It's the biggest hip flexor. It's part of the, the iliopsoas and psoas group. It's responsible for flexion in your hip, so kind of lifting your leg out in front of you. And it's considered a storage container for the body. It is a contraction muscle. It shortens your shoulders towards your hips. So sort of in this motion. And over time, we get really a lot of shortness in the psoas, and that shortness can pull on the diaphragm, so it can start affecting our breathing. It can affect our digestion, and it can also affect our low lumbar, because the low back has attachments to the psoas. So the psoas runs from your greater trochanter here on your femur all the way around to your back in these little finger attachments from T12 to L5, so through your thoracic and lumbar spine. So it's this huge band that wraps all the way around and attaches into your spine. So if it's really tight, it will pull on your lumbar spine and can actually pull your discs out of their placement. It can again affect your digestion and cause you a lot of digestive issues and affect your breathing. The psoas is actually considered the sister muscle to the diaphragm. So when it's tight and pressing on this area, you're not going to be able to take good breaths or deep breaths. So a lot of benefits in this practice today to get the psoas to do some of its releasing and kind of get some of the storage out of it. So we're going to start with just kind of taking a nice comfortable seat, and then kind of bringing our hands out in front of us and stretching down towards the floor. So your legs are folded in, and maybe you just kind of release your body all the way down. Let your body get as low as you can and hang kind of as low as you can. And just take a few deep breaths into your back and start to notice your hips. So what do we mean by the hips? Do we mean the bones of the hips? Do we mean where the hip and the leg meet? Do we mean the front of the pelvis? We kind of mean this whole area, right? This is the midsection of the body that takes a lot of the brunt of the work that we do in the body. It takes the brunt of the work for like every step we take, and it's just sort of the engine that drives the body, right? The legs and the hips and your low back. So take another breath here with yourself stretched out and down. Relax your jaw. And then go ahead and climb your way back up really slow, bringing your head back up on your shoulders. And again, I encourage you to just take it really easy with these movements today. If you're just coming back to your mat or into your practice, just kind of honor where your body is and don't injure any old or new injuries, like don't re-injure anything. And then let's go ahead and switch the legs. So I'm going to switch my inner foot to the outer position, and then I'm gonna kind of crawl back down into that same stretch. So just allowing the body to reach all the way down and forward. So just hang out there. You don't have to look at your video at this time. You can just kind of take a few deep breaths with your body draped forward. Now notice your hips, and maybe like notice how different doing it with the feet placed differently. It feels different to the body. Most of us will have one hip that's tighter than the other, and it's not always your dominant side in your body that's your tighter hip. So just a little food for thought there. I am right side dominant myself, and this does cause a little bit of imbalance in my body, and this for sure is my tighter hip. So take another deep breath where you are. Maybe inhale in through the nose, do a little soft exhale out of your mouth, and then tuck the chin and roll your way all the way back up. Nice. So let's release our legs. We're gonna take some easy windshield wiper knees. So I'm just gonna kind of drop the knees side to side. Now my feet are as wide as my mat, and I'm just, again, kind of letting them go left and right, left and right. Take a nice big breath. Yoga is all about maintaining really good breathing so that the breath is talking to the body. And then you're gonna take your legs out into a modified straddle. So open them a little wide. And then we're gonna fold that right heel in, and we're gonna fold our left foot back. And you can come off of your blanket, or if you had a meditation cushion you were sitting on, and just place it aside. Okay, so right heel is coming in, and left leg's kind of folding back. We're gonna do a nice release here into kind of the pelvic bowl area. So place your right hand down on the floor beside you, your left hand under your hip, and then you're just gonna kind of rock forward, lifting that side of the bottom up, and then all the way back until it sets down. So I'm gonna roll forward and then come back. So now imagine you have water in your pelvic bowl, and when you rock forward, you're going to spill the water out. You're using your imagination, and then you're gonna come back and kind of hold the water and let the tushy sit back down. So kind of rock forward and back. This is usually a really nice release exercise into the pelvic bowl area. Again, an area of lots of storage. They, in Chinese medicine, say that emotions are stored in our hips. So again, we're just gonna feel better when we get a little release out of the hips, hamstrings, and that great big hip contractor, hip flexor, the psoas. The psoas, by the way, is spelled with a P, P-S-O-A-S. So take one more there, everybody. Rock forward, and then rock back. Good. Come back to center, and let's take the legs back out into that modified straddle stretch. So open up nice and wide. And then right here, we're gonna crawl down through center. Now, you could use your block, bringing it forward. You can hang out on it. If you're very, very tight, I'm gonna encourage you to kind of bend up your knees and release some of that tightness. If you're okay here, just come forward for a nice, soft, very passive straddle. It doesn't have to be very active. Just keep your shoulders away from your ears. We're gonna begin here to stretch the backs of our hamstrings, right? So the hamstrings run down the back of the leg. They attach to your pelvis, and they do run past the back of your knee to the lower bones on the leg as well. They don't stop at your knee or above your knee. They continue down to the tib fib. So let's just stay here for a moment and take some deep breaths. You can let your head relax. And just kind of invite stretch into this area. The backs of the legs, the hamstrings. The inside tops of the thighs are the adductors. So the adductors are responsible for every step we take in the world. So they have a very big job. They get a lot of work, but they don't get a lot of stretch. So let's give them a few breaths of stretch. So we'll stay in this easy straddle for a few more moments. Again, deep breaths. See if you can just feel the sensations in the inner thighs. And you're gonna get a nice stretch here into your low back as well. The low back is gonna release some of its tension. So take a few more breaths here. We'll inhale and we'll exhale. All right, we're gonna tuck the chin, we're gonna roll back up. If you used a block, you could just gently place it aside. Now we're gonna fold that left heel in, going to the other side of that stretch. And we'll fold that right heel back. Watch out for a little Charlie horse here. Sometimes this can be a little tricky area. And then I'm gonna place my hand on my hip and this hand over here onto the floor. I'm going to rock forward towards my knee and then rock back, setting that side of the bottom down. Rock forward like I'm spilling water out of the bowl, and then rock all the way back. Again, just starting to loosen into my hips. Forward and back. Nice. Forward and back. So really feel that. It should feel good. Forward and back. Just starting to loosen into the hips. Forward and back. And again. Forward and back. One more time, everybody. Forward and back. Nice. Go back to your modified straddle for a moment. Maybe just kind of give your legs a little shake. And then bring the soles of your feet together. Grab onto your ankles and just kind of gently bounce your knees up and down. Try to keep your spine nice and tall here. But we're just thinking about kind of loosening up into the inner upper groins. So just do your best with this. Take a nice deep breath, inhale and exhale. Now, we're gonna gather up the knees and we're going to prop our hands behind us and we're gonna take our feet as wide as our yoga mat with our knees banging together. So I'm gonna walk a little wider if I can. Okay, so this is gonna be a little bit tougher of a stretch here. We're gonna really get into this outer area of the hip so you can get a little uncomfortableness. Now, if for any reason this is bothering your inner knee, like the medial meniscus, then please come out of it. But if you can, let your knees bang together and let your feet go wide. I want you to just feel the sensations on your outer hips for a moment. So our hips are capable of all kinds of ranges of motion, right? Or what we call ROM, range of motion. They flex, extend, they abduct, adduct, they open, right? They open to the right, they come to the left. They do all kinds of beautiful range of motion. And that ball and socket joint in the hip, that's the biggest ball and socket joint in the body. So we really want to take care of that guy. Take another deep breath here. I know you might be feeling some uncomfortableness, so kind of breathe through it. And then lift your knees, walk your feet as wide as your mat again, and let them go left and right. Left and right. Breathe, breathe. Take a nice deep breath, everyone. All right, so now we're gonna do just a little bit of freeing into the joint. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull up that right leg, so stretch your legs out straight in front of you. Pull up your right leg, one hand on your shin, one hand on your knee, and you're gonna squeeze in, and then you're gonna kind of push out through the ball of your foot, and then you're gonna inhale, squeeze that leg in again. You're gonna exhale, kind of step out. Inhale and exhale. So I'm hovering that leg away from the mat. I'm trying to sit up nice and tall. And I'm really gonna kind of start working the hip flexor here. In a moment, I'll give you an added challenge if you wanna see how strong your hip flexors are. Now, if you're an active yoga practitioner, and maybe you do active classes where we're in the downward facing dog position and we step through like to our hands so that we can do standing postures. When we step one foot through to the center of the hands, that step through from down dog is using the hip flexor. So that's total hip flexor. So if you have trouble stepping through where the leg stops halfway, that's just gonna be a little indicator that your hip flexors are a little weak. And there's all kinds of ways to strengthen your hip flexors, including climbing stairs on purpose. All right, so next time you bring that knee in and you've bent it, grab the foot, grab the knee, and let's rock side to side. Sometimes this is called rock the baby. So I'm gonna sit up nice and tall here. And I'm really trying to make as big a movement with the range of motion of my hip as I can. So don't minimize yourself here, don't limit it. Really rock nice and big side to side. Take a deep breath, feel what's going on in the hip. This is one of my favorite things to do. Now, we're gonna stack the knee over the other knee, or get as close to this shape for your body as you can. So I can even kind of wiggle my knees together. And this is gonna really start to activate the hamstring down my straight leg. So if this is a lot of stretch for you, maybe stay upright with your shoulders up. If you're okay with the stretch, you're going to lean into it over the stacked knees. Now when you lean, go ahead and let your head relax. Let your shoulders come away from your ears and feel the stretch. You're gonna feel a nice stretch on your low back here, but we're really working on that left side hamstring. So take some deep breaths. Let's remind ourselves here, just a little gentle, sweet reminder that no amount of time stretching is wasted time. It's always beneficial to the body to stretch what we call the fascia, or the lining of the body that holds the most tension or stress. So breathe deeper and let your body release some of the storage, what I call storage. Maybe you've never heard yourself referred to as a little storage unit, but we kind of are. We're kind of storing every single day. And so we need to stretch and move every day. Our body craves stretching and it craves movement. So take another big deep breath here. And then slowly come up from that stretch. And let your legs release. Go ahead and give your legs a nice little shake. And then prop your hands behind you. Take your feet as wide as your mat and circle your feet around. Just circle your ankles around. Still kind of in frame there. Breathe. Go the other way. Then bring your feet back together and just kind of tap your heels. Tap, tap, tap. All right, and then we're gonna start that other side. So I'm gonna bring my left leg in, one hand on my shin, one hand on my knee. Keep my spine up really tall, straighten out my straight leg, and then I'm gonna press out through the ball of that foot, hovering the foot away from the mat. And then inhale, I'm gonna squeeze in, and then exhale, press it out. Inhale, squeeze it in. Exhale, press it out. Inhale. Exhaling. So just coordinating breath with movement. When we link the breath and the movement in yoga, it keeps us present in the present moment experience, right? So your breath is always your guide. When we strain or struggle, our breath will drop off, right? We'll sort of have no awareness to our breath, and it might be short, it might get choppy, it might get shallow. Do a couple more breaths here. And then go ahead and bring that foot up, and one hand on your foot and one hand on your knee, and we're gonna rock side to side. So now we're just, again, kind of working some range of motion in the hip. And usually when I teach this, everybody says it feels really good. So I hope it feels good to you. But again, you're gonna honor old or new injuries. Maybe you have a hip surgery, maybe you have a replacement, maybe you have a knee replacement. Whatever the case may be, just kind of picking through the stretches and exercises today and do what really works for you. You can only work with what the body's providing for us. There is nothing else, right? Right. All right, give that another couple big rocks, everybody. Just kind of rocking the baby here. Feels so good. Take a big deep breath. And then go ahead and stack your knees. Or get as close to this shape for your body as you can. It's okay if it's not perfect. And then you can either stay upright, because this might be enough of a stretch, or kind of leaning forward. Now my straight leg toes are kind of pointed to the sky, which is going to activate the hamstring that runs down the back of the leg. And then we're going to continue to lean and breathe. When you do lean, again, make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. Provide more space there. So slide the shoulders down the back. Maybe relax your jaw, your face, your teeth, your tongue, and take some deep breaths. Really noticing and observing where you feel the stretch. Yoga is always about being present, and it really, really helps get us more into our bodies. So see if you can just focus in on what you're doing here and take a few more deep breaths. All right, let's take another big inhale, a really big exhale, And then we're gonna come slowly back up, bringing the head back up here and taking a breath at the top. Go ahead and uncross the legs and give them another little shake. And then have your blocks handy. We're gonna move into a little more active stretching into the psoas now and into our hamstrings. So, if you need one, grab a drink at any time. I tend to talk a lot when I teach, so I do get thirsty. All right, so let's sweep the legs and come around to a table posture when we're on our hands and our knees. Keep your blocks handy, and we're gonna step our right foot forward into a lunge. Okay, so we can either stay on the blocks here or bring our hands up onto our front thigh, and we're gonna deeply stretch the hips now. So we're gonna inhale and kind of lift up, pushing down into the front foot and kind of tightening our belly, and then exhale, just kind of sinking deeply into that stretch. Okay, so we're gonna inhale, lift up, and exhale, sink deeply into that stretch. If this back knee is uncomfortable, you can slide a pillow underneath of it, a towel from your kitchen or your bath, or anything that sounds comfortable, slide it underneath that knee, maybe a blanket. All right, so let's inhale, come up, exhale, sink. So again, keep the belly nice and tight. Inhale, come up, exhale, sink into the stretch. Again, we're gonna inhale, come up, exhale, sink into the stretch. One more time, everybody. Inhale, come up, and exhale, sink into the stretch. And let's hold. Let's place our hands back on our blocks and really let the top here of your left thigh be very, very heavy towards the floor. So now we are stretching the psoas, okay? So we're allowing it to lengthen and release some of its, again, storage. So every time we do this, let's think about, we're helping our digestion be better, we're helping our breathing be better, and if you do have low back issues, this can be one of the culprits or causes. It can also be one of the causes of sciatica. The sciatic nerve runs down the center of our glutes or our bottom, however you want to refer to it, and it can be really, really tricky and painful to have sciatic nerve pain. So let's take another breath here. Nice big one. Good. And then we'll use our blocks and we're going to kind of sit back towards the back heel and lift the front toes up into what we call a half splits position. So again, you can hold on to your blocks. If you don't have them, you can hold on to the floor. We're going to turn our body over that right leg and we're going to kind of lay our chest down towards it. Now my toes are pointed up towards the sky, again, to keep the hamstring active. If this is too much, please put a micro bend in your knee, right? So again, if you're really tight, just bend up the knee a little bit and fold onto the leg. Shoulders away from ears. You're gonna feel a nice release on your back. And just keep in mind that this is a tough stretch for everyone, this half splits shape. It's not just you. This is a hard stretch, right? Our hamstrings, again, do a very big job for the body. So they tighten and shorten when we walk, when we run, and when we sit and when we stand. So always think about your hips sort of being like the engine that drives your body. And when you do that, I feel like you start to gain a whole lot more respect for your body, really understanding the body and its workings, and sort of applying or giving more compassion to yourself because your body is amazing. So let's fold onto that leg one more time. Shoulders down, jaw nice and soft. Keep breathing here. Hands can be on the blocks, just kind of hanging out. You want to keep your back hip up over your back knee, so don't sit back too far. I'm resting on this front heel and my toes are pointed straight up, everybody. Take another deep breath here. Okay, now we're gonna use our blocks, walk forward, and you can just slide that foot back. If you know child's pose, take your knees wide as your mat, your big toes to touch, and just sink back into your hips. Now maybe the tops of the ankles don't allow this, that's okay. You can keep your hips kind of high in the air, but try to get your head down Another nice thing to do here is even bring your yoga block under your forehead and just set sort of your eyebrows down on it. So we're going to relax and soften into the hips and the low back here. You're going to breathe nice and deep. Keep your jaw and your face and your cheeks nice and soft. And keep thinking about every time you exhale that you're releasing tension out of your body. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. All right, we'll inhale nice and big, we'll exhale nice and big, and we'll begin to rise back out of that child's pose shape. Let's bring our knees back underneath our hips, grab our blocks again, and let's step our left foot forward into what we call that lunge shape. All right, so now you can keep your hands on your blocks or advance up onto your thigh. And again, make sure this knee is happy. Grab anything that you might have to slide underneath the knee to make the patella or kneecap more comfortable. Keep the collarbones nice and wide, so open here through the shoulders. Take an inhale as you come up, belly's tightened, and exhale, we're going to sink in. Push down into this front foot. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sink in. So I'm going to turn a little bit. You keep going, but I'm going to show you what that looks like from the side. So you can really see how much I'm lifting here and then lowering. Big slant here, top of my thigh, really stretching the psoas. Inhale and exhale. Couple more times. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. I know it can be an intense stretch, so do your best. Inhale and exhale. Now, grab your blocks. Stay with it a few more breaths. That heavy thigh, belly in. Gonna keep my chest and eyes and heart kind of lifted. Take a deep breath. And now we're gonna sit back into that half splits. So I'm gonna lift my toes, rest on my heel, turn my body over that leg, and then lay onto it. So I'm kind of bowing to my leg. So notice that my back hip is right up over my knee. I don't want to go past that. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, bow to the leg. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow. Make sure shoulders stay away from ears. And remember, this is a tough stretch for everybody, not just you, okay? Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow to the leg. Now let's just stay here for a moment. Kind of bow, fold, and hold. Really breathe into the back side of that leg. Give yourself the best stretch you can by utilizing your breath. Deep breaths, everyone. All right, now we're gonna kind of rebend that knee and step into the foot, and I'm going to work on standing. So however you need to get there, we're going to stand up and we're gonna fold over our blocks here now. So I'm taking a standing forward fold. Have your feet as wide as your hips. A little bend in your knees is fine. Bring your chest close to your thighs. Let your head drape down, and it's always okay to hang out on your blocks. If you're more advanced than that, then you don't have to use the blocks. All right, so we're gonna do a little psoas release. You're going to grab around behind your legs, behind your knees, and grab opposite elbow. See my shape. Chest is on the thighs. I'm gonna tuck my head in, keep a good grip on those elbows, and start to lift my hips up. Now, as I lift my hips and straighten my legs, I'm getting tremors or shakies, right? Shakes in my legs. That's the psoas beginning to release some of its tension. When it really does a big release, it creates what's called a tremor response, right? It'll tremor or shake. So keep that good grip on your elbows, lift your hips, drop your head, and maintain deep breaths, really doing just the very best you can here. Make sure those feet, again, are as wide as your hips. You don't want them too close together. You want a little bit of space. Chest sitting on your thighs. Tuck the head, lift the hips. Maybe you're getting the shakies. Know that you're releasing tension out of the body with each little shake. Shaking is waking. Keep breathing. We're staying for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go of your elbows. Now place your hands on your kneecaps. Climb up to your thighs and begin to rise a little bit. Begin to rise. How are we doing out there? Everybody good? Okay, nice. All right, so I want to do just a little bit of what I call head and body swinging. Let me see if I'm still in frame here. I think I might have to move you back a smidge. I apologize for doing this in the middle of our feed, but I want you to be able to see me. Okay. Better, still kind of cutting me off. Okay, so stand with your feet in a straddle, everybody. See if I can get myself in there. Okay, there we go. Step your feet nice and wide. So turn on your mat and step your feet nice and wide. You're gonna place your hands around to your low back. We're gonna bend the knees, kind of push the pelvis forward, and we're gonna turn and look over our right shoulder. This is called looking behind. And then we're gonna inhale, come to center, straighten our legs. Now bend your knees, tuck your pelvis, look over your left shoulder. So I'm kind of pushing my hips that direction as I look all the way around with my eyes. And then inhale, come back to center, straighten your legs, okay? So we're going to bend the knees, tuck the pelvis, kind of thrust, look over the right shoulder, looking behind. Inhale, come center, straighten. Now bend, tuck, thrust, look over the left shoulder, all the way around. Again, come forward, straighten, bend, tuck, thrust. One more time. Straighten, bend, tuck, thrust, look over the left, and back to center. Actually, we'll do one more to the right. You're gonna bend, tuck, thrust, and go all the way around over that right shoulder. So we are stretching the psoas right there. So again, at the beginning, I stated the psoas is a great big hip flexor that wraps from your greater trochanter, your thigh, right, your femur, all the way around to the back in these little finger attachments, T12 to L5. So it's this big band. So when we're sort of thrusting and looking, we're stretching that out. Okay, so let's stay in our straddle. Feet are nice and wide. You can have your yoga block handy. You're gonna go down and touch the earth. Touch your block. Turn your toes a little bit in and straddle, and fold as much as you can in between your legs. Take some deep breaths here. We're gonna do 3 breaths at center. And if we're traveling with our block, it goes with us. We're gonna go to that right leg. We're gonna do 3 breaths over the right leg. Tuck your head in. Take 3 breaths. Okay, we're gonna come 3 breaths to center again. And again, you can move with your block. It's okay, do your best. And then 3 breaths to the left leg. So walk over to the left leg, tuck in, take some breaths. All right, we're gonna come back to center. Now, take your block, have it close, but I'm gonna pivot back around here and bend my front knee and drop my back knee. So now I'm back onto the knees. Okay, good. All right, so let's do one more really big stretch. And again, I apologize for having to adjust this, but you gotta be able to see me. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of a lizard pose, and then we're gonna kind of make ourselves away into another shape and onto our back. So take your blocks, and we're gonna do that right foot forward again. We're gonna really slide that left knee back. Make sure it's happy. Remember, tuck something under it. And then bring a block inside of your foot here, and we're gonna try to either stay up on our arms or climb down to forearms, taking what we call a lizard stretch. So again, my back knee is really far back. Slide it back and take some deep breaths here. So this is again gonna really stretch out the psoas. I'm gonna let my head release, my jaw relax, my shoulders away from my ears. I hope that when you're finished with this today, you feel a little happier in your hips, your hamstrings, and in your psoas, your hip flexors. With continued practice of these stretches and breathing, you can have better digestion, better breathing, and perhaps decrease any injuries to your back or any back issues you're having. Maybe they will subside. So take another breath here. And go ahead and climb up onto your block. So let's go ahead and step our two knees together again. Take our knees as wide as our yoga mat, big toes to touch, and sink down into stretch. Child's pose. You can grab your block again, place it under your forehead, and relax. Maybe you felt that was a little intense to do the lizard. And yeah, working into the hips is intense. Take a few breaths to relax your jaw, maybe open and close your mouth. Nice big inhales, nice big exhales. This is one of the best shapes you can do, everybody, for gently opening your hips, and it's a great stretch for your low back. All right, we're gonna rise back up and we're gonna go to that other side. So bring your knees back together, right? And then we're gonna step forward with that left foot. All right, so I'm really gonna walk that knee back. I want you to be able to see all the way back, 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 back. Lock inside my foot and then climb down onto my block with my forearms if I can. If not, you can stay upright. But typically your outer forearm is gonna be the one that's gonna be a little more accessible onto the block, or maybe you're using a big book today or even a pillow, and then all the way down nice and low. But look at the slant on this back thigh, right? I don't want my hips up over my knee. I wanna let them come forward nice and heavy. Let's relax the head, and we'll focus some nice deep breaths on this side, about 5 good deep breaths, maybe 6. Again, see if you can just relax into the jaw. And just become aware of the body and what you're doing here. All right, nice big inhale, exhale, we'll push up. And then we're just gonna go ahead and kind of sit onto our knees. If that's not a comfortable shape for you, don't do it. But eventually stretching 2 legs out in front of us. So let's go back to the straight leg shape. Grab your block. We're going to do a very passive forward fold. So again, if you have really tight hamstrings, consider bending up your knees. But think about really keeping your chest kind of open. I'm just gonna come forward and I'm gonna pop my head onto my block here. And your block has 3 sides, right? So you have a tall side, a lower side, and then a lowest side. So just kind of popping your head onto that block. You can relax here, close your eyes, and let it be a very passive forward fold. So go to your level. You might reach back and kind of move the flush here of our bottom and just kind of take it back into the sides. And then come forward again. Shoulders away from ears, everybody. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's do about 5 deep breaths here. And we're back into the hamstrings now, the backs of the legs, working that area. Nice big inhale. Nice big exhale. Inhale really big again. Maybe open up your mouth and exhale out of your mouth. And then come up and rise. You can bring the block with you. Okay, we're gonna make our way onto our back and we're gonna take a shape called Happy Baby. It's gonna stretch the hips again. So as you make your way onto your back, you're gonna bring your feet up towards the sky and you're gonna grab onto the outside edges of the feet and you're gonna pull down your knees towards your armpits. Now, if you can't get your feet, you could grab the backs of your thighs. You could also hook the backs of the legs kind of with your elbow, your forearm. So we're going to pull really firmly onto the feet. Knees are very wide. I sometimes like to think that I have like an eyeball right here on the ball of my foot, and the eyeball is staring straight at the ceiling so that I know my feet are flat and I'm pulling down. Now, try to get the flat part of your sacrum or the back of your hips onto the mat. So notice if it's kind of lifted up. See if you can take it back down. You're going to pull actively on your feet. In fact, we're going to pull down with the arms, but we're going to push up with our feet. So create a push-pull. So pull down, at the same time push up. I'm just going to give you a lot more stretch there into the hips. Stay and take a few deep breaths. Happy baby pose. Best hip stretches there is, right? All right, nice. Go ahead and release that. And now bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall open in our reclining butterfly shape. We'll take a few deep breaths here. Now we're going to do a little more active work. And if this hurts your back, please don't do it. Take your arms down by your sides, palms down. Push your feet together, so my soles of my feet are together in butterfly. My knees are open, and I'm going to lift my hips up, and I'm really going to work into this area. Again, if you're in pain, please don't do it. So I'm lifting and elevating my hips. Deep breaths here. So what the body might start to do here is kind of wobble or shake a little bit. And again, we're just kind of getting into that release. We're just kind of scratching the surface here of Psoas work. I typically teach this as like a 2-hour workshop, or even teach it at yoga festivals for at least 2 hours, and I can use up all of that 2 hours. All right, gently sit them down. Now, bring your knees in, hands on your kneecaps, and you're going to take the knees out, open, in. We're just going to massage the hips. Big circles all the way around. Should feel good to massage your hips after that. Reverse your circles. Take a big deep breath. One more time, reverse for 5, 4, big circles everybody. 3, 2, and 1. Plant your feet right underneath your knees. Stretch your right leg up into the air. Grab the back of the leg. Now, you can grab the thigh. You're not allowed to pull on the knee, so don't put pressure on your knee. Or you can go up higher. But try to keep your shoulder blades underneath your back. So if that means just grabbing here, then do that. Pull the toes towards your face, flexing the foot and dorsal flexing the ankle. Take some deep breaths. Now, you're going to pull your leg towards you and push it into your hands at the same time. And you're going to feel that little shaky start again. Deep breaths. Pull the leg towards you. Press it as straight as you can. And push your leg into your hands. We're going to hold for 5. Stay nice and relaxed. Continue your breathing. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, bend that knee. Good. Bring your knees into your chest. Take a second. Maybe roll your ankles through. And then stretch your left leg up. So put your right foot, you can put both feet by your bottom if you want. So put your feet underneath your knees. Stretch your left leg up into the air. Grab the back of the thigh. And again, you can grab higher. Just make sure that your shoulders can stay underneath your back. Don't pull on the back of your knee. Knees don't like to be pulled on or pushed on, really. So press the leg as straight as you can. Pull your toes back towards your face. And press your leg into your hands. So you're pulling with your hands, using muscular effort and pressing away, and you might get the shaky, wakey-wakeys. Keep breathing. Remember, shaking is waking. You're letting tension out of the body, and it's so good for you. You're going to feel better today. Make sure you hydrate really well today. Drink lots and lots of water to help the fascia of the body kind of really release and rehydrate. Take deep breaths. We're almost there. And release. Let it go. Take your feet as wide as your mat here and windshield wiper them side to side. So we did this seated, remember? Feet as wide as your mat. Go ahead and let them windshield wiper side to side, left and right, nice and big. Just kind of a nice release for the back of the hips, the SI joints. Deep breath. If you'd like, I'll invite you to lay flat on your back for a few moments, taking what we call final shavasana or final rest. So if you'd like, lay down on your back. I'll talk you through just a moment of relaxation. So as you lay down, just make your body as relaxed, as comfortable. Take your feet wide. Let your arms drop at your sides. Maybe turn your palms up. And take a moment for yourself, everyone, to just close your eyes and feel all the sensations in your body. Can you take a deep breath into your belly? As you inhale, belly rises. As you exhale, belly falls. Noticing the whole body relaxed onto the floor. Nice heavy arms, nice heavy legs, soft fingers, soft toes. And a nice, relaxed, calm, peaceful you. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. You can stay in your rest as long as you like, or you can continue it after the end of this video. Get some more rest. Remember, lots of water today to help the body with all the stretches you just did. And again, that was just a very brief introduction to having happy hips, happy hamstrings, and getting a little bit of psoas release. I hope you breathe better today. I hope you feel better today. Join us again on Yoga's Arc. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them and reach out anytime. If you haven't already done so, come back up to seated. You can sit again cross-legged or on your block or on your blanket or on your yoga meditation cushion, whatever you have, or just on your seat. Bring our hands together with a lot of gratitude and a lot of respect for these beautiful bodies, this beautiful life we have, and any gratitude for anything that you can think of in your heart, your own personal gratitude today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you'll join us again. Namaste.